Hey everyone, it's Adam here in the Aeroworks workshop, and boy do we have a lot to cover today. We're going to be covering our avionics and some other parts, so stay tuned and let's get started. Alright guys, so let's get into this. So we're going to cover the basic avionics that I chose. Now obviously I chose Dynon, as you can see from the Dynon boxes here. I decided to go with the HDX series. Now this is their touchscreen, fully integrated system, meaning that everything, all of your instruments, your engine gauges, your radios can all be controlled via the 10-inch display. They do sell this in a 7-inch and a 10-inch. And again, with all the parts that I'm going to talk about today, I'll put links down in the description. I'm not going to put prices because, as we know, prices go up and down. And as the video gets out there, it could be cheaper, it could be more expensive. So just click on the link to see current pricing. So the main display, this is the HDX. The model number is an SV HDX 1100, which includes the moving map and everything. So let me take this out. What's amazing about these things is how small of a footprint these actually take up. You can see that they've got all of their DIN pins on the back, so this is where all of your instruments, your engine gauges, everything will plug into with a harness. You've got your USB ports and your Ethernet cable, built-in fans, and it's all in this very nice, compact unit. Now one thing I like about the HDX over the standard Dynon screens is that it has this little angled shelf here, which kind of makes it nice if you're in bumpy weather and you're flying around. It gives you a spot to kind of rest your hand as you push the buttons. You don't have to touch the screen because you can navigate around the screen either using the dials, which also are clickers, or the soft keys. You can program those to any fashion you want. So this is really the heart of the system. This is the MFD, if you will, in this aircraft. Now what I chose to do on the right side, I was going to put the glove box that Zenith sells, but I thought it took up quite a bit of real estate, and I wanted to have kind of all the information I could possibly have in here. I am building this as a VFR only aircraft because it's that's just the way I'm building it. So on the right side, rather than put the glove box in, I decided to go with the DYNON Avionics iPad mount because I have a ton of iPads for my day job work that I do. And I thought, well, why not utilize one of those? So I have the DYNON Avionics iPad mount. And the way this works, I've got an iPad here in my typical silicone rubber case. You simply pop this guy out. Actually, slide it in this way first. And then it pops in. And then what you end up with is a nice flush mount bezel to your instrument panel, a nice 10-inch screen to go along with the other 10-inch screen. And I'll typically run 4-flight on here, so it's kind of like a backup AHRS and ADS-B, separate from the Dynon system, which does have ADS-B, GPS, all that good stuff in it. Two separate systems. The only thing they're going to be sharing is power, but again, the iPad runs on batteries as well as 12-volt power, so to have a completely redundant system was something that was important to me. Have a separate GPS, a separate AHRS, and ADS-B all built into the right-hand side, along with the Dynon, which makes for a great information package there on the main screen. All right, the next important item in the Dynon system is, of course, the heated pitot tube. This is going to give you, of course, your airspeed, as well as your AOA indicator. And that is right here. So you've got the complete system there with the heated probes and all the connectors already put on. And then we also have the electronics module that will have to be mounted up in the wing for the heated pitot tube. Now again, I am flying VFR, but you know, why not have that little bit extra protection should you get in some colder weather and you got some snow and ice accumulating on there. You know, the Super Duty is not a fast plane, and you know, it's one of those planes you kind of do fly by feel a little bit, but better to put it in now than have to put it in later, so I went ahead and got the heated controller. Now Dynon makes it really easy with several kits that are available to purchase to put all these components together. They do have a configurator on their website. You can run through and select all your options. It'll tell you the parts you need, give you a quote, a price estimate, and you can order it directly through them or through your aircraft manufacturer or through somebody like Aircraft Spruce. This is actually their Pitot AOA pneumatic installation kit. It gets you a good start. It may not be all the tubing you need, but it does give you all the various tubes you need for your static port, your AOA, and your airspeed. Has instructions in there, as well as a whole bag of basically press fit pneumatic style connectors and fittings. So it's a real nice way to get started. You may need to extend a line here or there, and it does come with instructions and everything like that. All right, the next item is the SV comm panel radio. This is the main comm radio. You can order these in a horizontal or vertical position. And one of the nice things that Dynon and people like Garmin do is if you go to their website under the documentation, you can find life-size PDFs that print out on a regular 8.5 by 11 paper. So you don't have to go into CAD and sketch all this up from scratch. They actually have these that you can download, print them out, and then you'll see behind me in our Super Duty, we actually did that to kind of get some panel layout. But the comm radio, again, you're going to have two pieces of this. There's going to be the actual radio itself that you can mount pretty much anywhere you need to. And then there's going to be the panel portion that you're going to actually have your knob controller on. And all this connects through the DIN S-Bus system. So again, this is the Dynon comm radio. I did get it in the vertical. You can get the plate to go like this where all the words are turned 90 degrees. But for our panel layout, we chose to go with the vertical. You get enough pins and connectors to make up everything you need to do for the back. And of course, they give you templates and instructions, everything inside the box. And one thing, like I mentioned in the beginning, the HDX screen, which is touchscreen, does allow you to control the radio. Even though you have the traditional knobs on the radio, you can touch the screen and type in a number, or you can turn the dial on the actual radio itself, so that's kind of nice. The next item is the SV Transponder, or XP NDR 261. This is a Mode S transponder. This is going to be 2020 compliant, of course. Nothing really fancy to see here. It's basically just the unit itself, and of course you'll have a ADS-B antenna on there. Comes with the connectors, instructions, and so on. All right, more Dynon parts here. We've got the two-place stereo intercom. So this is going to take care of your headset inputs, as well as if you want to input an audio source. Let's say you want to connect your iPhone or your iPod, if anybody still has an iPod. There is a music in on there. You can do that. This is your squelch, your volume. So again, went with that vertical orientation. It's going to be located right below the regular comm radio. So you get that. You also get some headset jacks and other connectors. Everything you need basically to hook up your headsets and your audio system. And to finish off the comm radio, we have the Rami. I'll give you the model number here. It's an AV10 comm antenna. Really nice unit, high quality, well made. And it looks like this right here. That's your traditional kind of Cessna type aerodynamic comm radio antenna. So looking forward to getting that installed as well. The next piece here is the SV ADS-B 472. This is the dual band traffic and weather receiver. Not a whole lot to this. Again, your connectors, and you've got a small little unit there. Again, on the Dynon website, everything is laid out. They have nice schematics that show you the whole system's layout, where everything plugs in, where you can mount things and things like that. So if you are going with a Dynon system, I strongly encourage you to check out their website. Check out the how-tos, the instructions, the documentation, because everything is in there. It's going to show you what you need to put a system like this together. A couple other things I did add to mine is I added the, this is actually called the Dynon Skyview USB video input adapter. So this allows you to bring any video source, a CCTV style camera, a GoPro, anything that you can have a regular composite video input. You can basically pipe that into your HDX screen. So if you have like a tail dragger and you want a nose camera, like Trent Palmer has, you want a tail cam, a bottom cam, whatever you want, any kind of camera you want, maybe the rear passenger if you had a rear passenger. Basically, this gives you a module that turns regular composite video into a USB and then allows it to talk to the HDX screen. So pretty cool little feature. I figured why not? It's like 75 bucks. You can pick one of those up. Next, we have a Wi-Fi adapter for Skyview. This is primarily for connecting your phones and things like that, running the app so that you can talk to the Skyview panel without having to connect up cables and things. So if you want to do updates and things like that, again, it's an option. You don't need it, but it is available. All right, next we have the, this is the AHRS unit. So this is your attitude, reference, compass, all that good stuff. You know, nowadays everything is electronic. We don't have the typical, the old-fashioned gyro-style compass. We'll still have to have the compass for regulations, but this is basically the digital compass. It's also your outside air temperature, and it's where your static pitot and your AOA connect to. So this is the part that's going to turn all that pneumatic input into a digital source to go into the HDX panel so that we can get all that data off of there. Next up, and a very important part of the whole system, is the GPS. This is the SV GPS 2020, and this basically consists of the Dynon GPS module. Now you can pretty much put this where you want. Some people put it right up on the dashboard. Some people put it on the roof. You can put it wherever you want. They get plenty of cable there to put it wherever you want. You will need this to have both your traffic and your GPS for the HDX, so you want to make sure you get the right one that they recommend. All right, the last small piece that I have for the instrument panel is a Garmin USB charging port. Now, a lot of people may just say, well, I'm just going to go down to AutoZone and pick up a you know, a USB adapter, 12-volt cigarette lighter deal. But know that, you know, some of these, you don't know where these things are made. They may not be rated for the power you're going to push through it. This is a dedicated, lit up, high quality USB port. So if you're trying to charge things like iPads or phones while you're flying, at least you know that it's not only does it make a nice flush mount in your panel, but it's high quality, it's lit. So if you're at night, these light up blue, and it has all the appropriate aviation grade connectors and plugs that you're going to need to power this properly. It's not cheap, but it is high quality, and when you're building a plane and you're putting all this expensive gear in there, why not keep with putting high quality components in there? It'd be really stupid to have a brand new airplane burn to the ground because you used something that you picked up at a gas station. So make sure if you're going to put a USB port in there that it's something that's made for aircraft, made for the amperage that you might be running or requesting from it, and get the right components. Now, the heart of the whole avionics package is going to be the power system. Now, traditionally in aircraft, you have your battery, you have some ground and power lugs, and then you have bus bars, and everything basically ties off of these bus bars. You have a positive and a negative, and your positives go through fuses, and the fuses go to the devices, and so on. It's a lot of wiring, and there's a lot of room for failure there. So I decided with the Super Duty to go with the Vertical Power VPX. Now, this is a complete solid state, basically computer control. This is the brain of the whole system right here. It gives you a lot of options when it comes to powering your system, controlling things like strobes and flap indicators and things like that. Everything is done within here. It makes wiring super simple because basically you have an input to the device and you have an output from the device. All the fusing and all that stuff is handled internally with the VPX itself. And then along with that, we also have a whole power and cabling package that comes available from them. So all the wiring you need to power all your common devices, your lights, your flaps, your avionics, any kind of indicator that you're going to have showing up on your EFIS, basically is going to run through the vertical power and be controlled and monitored through there. Monitoring is another big thing. So knowing when a device is failing is something that you can do directly through this. Now, when it fails in a traditional method, you either have a fuse pop or you have a fire somewhere because you don't really have any other indication other than the power lead is going to pop out if it gets to a certain amp draw and so on. But if you have a bad breaker, you have cables that melt, things like that, you have no way of knowing if something is about to fail. You only know after it fails. The VPX actually monitors that and can give you warnings with set thresholds on your EFIS, and they work with all the major flat screen companies, you know, Garmin and DYNON and so on. So very cool system there. We're going to be going into a lot more detail on all of these pieces, but I wanted to cover a couple of things that Vertical Power on their website they talk about. So obviously EFIS integration, flap control, trim control, switch inputs, wig-wag control, alternator protection, safer starter protection, and they really make two models. They make a Pro version, and then they make what they call a Sport version, and really the only difference is the amount of inputs and outputs you get out of them. The Pro version also does have a redundant power supply, so you can get some extra redundancy there. I do want to show you what powers all this. I've got to grab that off the shelf really quick. Now, the old way to wire up an aircraft was you had a big 1 or 2 solenoids under your cowling, and that went to bus bars and so on. There's lots of wiring, lots of pieces and parts. Basically, you have this unit here, and this is known as the PPS, is the model number on it. And basically, it's something you can mount directly to your firewall. You're going to have your plus battery, your starter out, your main bus out, and your alternator in are going to connect to these lugs right here. And basically, everything else is controlled through a big military style rotating connector here. That's going to basically feed to the VPX, and then that's where all of your power, all your switching, all your circuits are going to take place between these two units here. So again, we're going to go into a lot more detail when we get to the wiring on this. But again, just like Dynon and some of the other avionics manufacturers, if you go to the Vertical Power website, they have a configurator in there that you can actually run through. You can tell them how many inputs, how many outputs you have, what voltage your system is, and all that. And they will tell you the parts that you will need. And they will actually, at the end of the configurator, when you hit print, you'll actually get a full schematic of how to wire it up, how to wire your plane up with the equipment that you're required to do. So that is the power for our Zenith Super Duty aircraft. One thing I want to talk about is the panel that comes with the Super Duty. Now, they include what is called their STOL panel, which is the narrow panel that they have in the regular 750. I decided to upgrade to the cruiser panel, which gives you more real estate. And I want to show you over here in the cockpit the size difference. It allows you to put a lot more equipment in there. It is that typical give and take scenario. You can see here, if I center this up, you can see how much more room on both sides I get, which doesn't look like a whole lot, but it does allow this screen to be put more in the center line with the pilot, versus when you have a 10-inch screen more in the center, it kind of puts it off center. That kind of bugged me. Plus, it allows me to put a lot more switches and things in here. What you do give up, however, with the STOL panel not being used, is this little bit of area right here. So if you're coming in some rough terrain, you're going to lose a little bit of visibility right through this area here, because with the STOL panel, that would all be open and you'd have kind of a nice angle there. So again, it's a little bit of give and take, but I was worth giving up that little bit of visibility for the additional panel room. We're going to be going into a panel review, the actual panel cutting in a future video, but we are going to have, like I said, our Dynon screen, our iPad. Here's our vertical pieces in here, our intercom and radio. And again, these are those pieces you can get right from Dynon. You don't have to print these out or make these yourself. Dynon provides these right on their website. You just print them out on a regular printer, and they're actual scaled to the full size. So you print them out. I put a little tape over them, that way they don't fade or get ripped. And then you can really lay out all your pieces on there. But this is going to allow me to really see and also kind of lay out where I want things, throttles and switches and gauges and things like that. So just know that that is another option. It comes standard with the STOL panel. You can get the cruiser panel. If you buy it after, it's probably going to cost you more money to ship. So if you do want the cruiser panel to start, I think it's about $115 to order that. But then you could subtract this one, and maybe it's only 25 bucks difference. So think about that when you are ordering your panel and ordering your kit. I want to talk a little bit about a couple options that are available for the 750 Super Duty. Now, one thing I'm working with Zenith on is the options that are available on the website versus not on the website. There are some things that you need to know about that, and specifically, if you've ever been to the Zenith website and went to the options on any of the aircraft, but we'll talk specifically about the Super Duty. You go to options, there's things like the bubble canopy, the adjustable seat rails, the glove box, and things like that. Well, some of those options are now included in the standard kit, and then there are things like the 4-point harnesses that are options that aren't even shown on the website. So those are things that we're getting corrected, but know that if you are ordering a kit in today's world, whatever today might be for you when you're watching this video, make sure you ask Zenith at the time you're ordering, are there any other options I should consider? Are there any other things that you can throw in the kit to make the price a little cheaper because of shipping and that? Make sure you know what all those options are before you have your kit shipped to you, then find out that, you know, the seat belt option might be more money if you didn't order it with your kit. So things like that. So what we have here is the 4-point harness that's made by Sparco. These are a company that makes seat belts for racing cars. And what Zenith has done is packaged up a kit that allows you to adapt from the standard good old airline, just put it over my waist and click it seat belts, to a 4-point, 3-point, however you want to look at that, harness system. So what this entails is you're going to have a Y adapter that's going to basically be mounted to the ceiling. So that's going to be behind you. And then that's going to leave you with shoulder harnesses and a nice seatbelt style buckle with pads that you can then adjust and get all adjusted to be nice and snug. So when you are making those off airport landings, you have a little bit more restraint with the seatbelt system versus just a lap belt and a loose shoulder strap. So this will allow you to really cinch yourself in there when you got a bumpy ride. So they do include the seat belts in there, both the manual for the seat belt from the seatbelt manufacturer, as well as an additional drawing from Zenith that, and I'm still working on this, but they do provide new upper channels, and these are pre-drilled for the brackets that you're going to have to put up there, as well as I believe this is a thicker metal. It almost looks stainless, but I believe it's aluminum, but it's an 040 versus an 020. That's something I'm verifying with Zenith because I had already had my channels riveted in before I got this kit. And then you have a couple plates that end up being the doubler on top of your roof, and this is where that bolt from the seat belt center strap is going to actually bolt to the roof, and it'll actually come through the roof and be sticking on the top. So again, the Super Duty is not a sleek aircraft by any means, but it is one more thing that you are going to have on top of the skin. On top of the normal skin, you're going to have the doubler, and then you're going to have a bolt sticking up there. So keep that in mind should you choose to do the 4-point seat belt harness. Also has the rear brackets, which are for the top channel. So something to keep in mind. If you do want to do that, I would suggest you do it right out of the gate when you order your kit. That way you don't have to mess with putting the original ones on. You'll get these all pre-drilled for you, and you can go right from there. All right, guys, I want to go over a little bit of the lighting that we're using on the Super Duty, and I want to reach out and thank Bree over at DYNON Technologies, who provided some awesome LED lighting for the Super Duty. Now, we're specifically using the Orion 600s. Now, these are a multi-functional LED strobe light. They're all LED, actually, but these units are pretty cool because they're both navigation, strobe, and positioning lights, if you will. So you've got your green or red on the front, you've got your strobes, and your white lights emitting out the back for, you know, directional. Super high quality, nice unit, well made, beautiful hardware, and these are super bright. I've actually powered them up one time already, and we'll be showing you that here in a future video. So we've got one of each of those on the wingtips, of course, one red, one green. And then for our fuselage, we went with the LED beacon. Now this is a red beacon, very small, compact, doesn't take up a lot of room, but it is extremely bright, and it's a flashing red light. You could put this on the top or the bottom. I believe ours will be on the bottom. That's the plan so far. And again, very well made, super high quality, super bright. And they provide those in a variety of different voltages if you need them, 24 or 12. You can order them directly from Watt or DYNON Technologies. Of course, they come with a manual, talks all about the wiring and how to hook them up. And again, I want to thank Bree over that Watt for hooking us up with those. Looking forward to getting those in the wingtips once we get our wings completed. Now for our landing light, we went with the Aero LEDs landing light. This is actually provided with the Zenith kit. We purchased it with the Zenith kit, and it's a very compact, small LED. It actually mounts inside of the slat So it'll be on the leading edge slat. It comes with some additional aluminum parts to make it adjustable, as well as provide a shield behind the light. Extremely bright, and again, these are available directly through Zenith. Just talk to Roger over there, and he will hook you up with what you need. Again, like with a lot of the accessory and optional parts, make sure you talk to the manufacturer, whether it's Zenith or somebody else, and make sure you know what all your options are. And that's a really important thing to consider, because you will typically get a shipping discount of some type if you order the parts with your kit, because they can put them in the crate, versus ordering them after the fact and paying more for shipping. Now, a small box like this wouldn't be a big deal, but if you have a piece of aluminum that's a little bit larger, even something like the panel that we're going to talk about in the video, those are things that, you know, the shipping on that alone might be cost prohibitive for you. So make sure you add those in the original kit when you order that, and know all your options from the start. All right, guys, well, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed a quick overview of the avionics and some of the other parts. We got a lot more coming, a lot more videos, a lot more how-tos. And again, sorry I was gone for 3 weeks. You know, sometimes business takes you out there on the road and you got to do it. If you're wondering what I do, go back and watch episode 1 and talk all about it in episode 1. Or watch the other 20-something episodes, because we cover everything about the Super Duty build. So guys, again, it's Adam with Aeroworks. Make sure you like and subscribe. And I want to send a shout out to Caitlin at Zenith for sending me this cool Zenith cap. I'll wear it with pride, and we'll see you guys on the next one.